on this computer. Perfect. All right. And we'll share our screen. And you guys should be able to see the Desert Housing Report. All right. So thank you all for joining us this morning. The Desert Housing Report just came out a couple days ago and we've reviewed it. So I wanted to go over a few things with you guys that I think will be helpful for you as you're having conversations with buyers and sellers out there. We'll run through, normally I know I like to just run through the summary, but I am going to go through some of the slides today. So the first one that we've got here shows that the median price of a detached home in the Coachella Valley fell again last month and is currently at 640, which is still up almost 4%, 3.7% year over year, but it's 9% below the peak of 710 that we had a few months ago. So we're obviously seeing things start to move. We've been talking about that for a little while, but 640 is the number versus 710 where we were a few months ago at the peak. So the decline is unexpected since sales typically begin to rise in December. And we're going to have to watch this metric just to make sure that just to watch the progress to see if prices are going to continue to decline. Right now, they should actually be coming up because normally this time of year we have new listings coming on the market. Prices come up a little bit as that starts to happen, but we're not seeing that. So we want to watch this metric closely. And the same goes for attached homes. We're sitting at 440 right now, which is off of the peak, which was, let's see, what was the peak? Peak on this was right around it was just under 500. But what that's done, if you look at this, what it's done is it's actually brought us back to the 4.5% growth curve that we normally have. And so it's brought us back into equilibrium a little bit when it comes to the increase. Although again, we're watching prices decline, so we have to watch to see what happens over the next few months. But this will be a pattern that we want to just kind of watch, and you guys are going to want to see this, especially with the attached homes. As inventory starts to come up, we want to watch to see what happens with those attached homes to see if sales start to slow even more, because we've seen that happen in the past when there's enough inventory of single family residences, the sales of attached homes tend to wane a little bit. So we want to just continue to watch that, especially if you're dealing with anybody who's in a condo situation. This table that you guys know I love, these two tables are going to display the price and the price per square foot of the average home in each city. I was looking at some of this last month and couldn't figure out what was going on with Coachella, but I actually looked at the numbers, and the reason that these increases are so high is really because the inventory is still really low. The sales in the city they're strong, but and a lot of what's going on the market is selling, but not enough inventory is coming on the market. That's why you're seeing those increases in the cities in Indio and Coachella like you are. The one thing that I thought was really interesting on this, though, that I haven't paid attention to, as a matter of fact, I had to go back and look at some of the past charts to see if they were actually tracking this before, and I didn't realize it, but how far we are from the low of 2011, 2012. So let's just take this top line for example. The average size of a home in Coachella is 1,700 square feet. That's the number we've been seeing around, so that number hasn't changed very much. The price per square foot sitting right around 270. The price of the average home in Coachella is 457. 1 year ago, that price was 375. So 21% increase, and it's a 310% increase from the low in 2011 of $111,000. So we just went over Coachella, and that's a very specific city, and I know not a lot of you are working in that city, but look at the cities that you are working in. Look at how far we are off of the lows from 2011 and 12. These are great pieces of information to have as you're guiding sellers through conversations about the right time to make a move. Like you're still in a much better position, or even if it's the right time to buy, look at how far we are off of those lows that we experienced, 10, 15 years ago. Those numbers are really interesting. And then look at Palm Springs. If you look at Palm Springs and Palm Desert, their 12-month change is -4% and 0.5%. Those are two of the most important cities in the Coachella Valley as far as the number of transactions that happened. So to see those two cities fall is a little more significant than it might indicate on the chart, but that's just because of the number of transactions that we see. And then you have the same thing for attached homes. Again, these charts are really amazing for you to be looking at when you're sitting down and having a conversation with a seller. And if you ever want to sit down and practice those conversations with me, feel free. We'll dig into the numbers for the specific situation you have, and we'll figure out how you can use that in your conversations with your buyers and your sellers. The next one The next slide that we want to look at is the detached and attached total sales. Um, this report says that it's distressing that home sales continue to decline, and I agree. This is not the time of year that we normally see that happening. This is where we normally see an increase. But the 3-month average in sales in December was 444 units a month, which is about 50% less than last year. So what does that tell us? 50% of the escrows are going in that were last year. So you guys need to be making at least 2 to 3 times the phone calls that you were making before to make sure that you're getting the same amount of business. Before the pandemic, December sales averaged around 717 units a month. And this year, let's go back again, it was 444. So that just shows a significant decrease. We need to be out there doing everything we can to drum up your unfair share of the business. So sales are now running about 38% below average total. We are entering the time of year where desert sales stop declining and begin to rise. So over the next few months, I want you guys to really watch this metric and see if it actually starts to come up, or if we're seeing something that's against the normal grain. And if we continue to see it decline, then we know that we have to be concerned. And again, it's just different kinds of conversations that you have and a different way that you have to do your business. Detached, attached total sales. Oh, so the last one that we looked at, this is the 3-month rolling average. The next page is a 12-month rolling average. And the nice thing about this is it takes the seasonality out of the total sales. So it shows total sales around 715 units a month. It's 30% below last year, and it's the 17th consecutive month of decline in the number of transactions. So I want you to think about that. 17 months that we've been in a decline of the number of transactions that are happening. I know we've seen it in our business, and I know you guys are feeling it, but what do you have to do in order to not be a part of that metric? What do you have to do to be on the opposite side of that, where you're the one getting the business? Right now, I really feel like it's all about relationship building and the types of conversations you're having with your clients. It's not as much of a, excuse the term, a wham bam, thank you ma'am type of market. It's much more of a hand holding, guiding the client through, walking them through the processes, and helping them to overcome those hurdles that are stopping them from making the move. So if you guys are having clients that are having conversations about, we just want to wait, we don't know what to do, I want you to bring those conversations to me. Let's role play them. I'm probably going to ask you some questions that maybe you haven't already asked, and we'll dig a little bit deeper to see how we can unpeel that onion and to get into the core of what the real challenge is, so that we can help them get past it. But this is exactly where we're at, guys. It's not going to be the type of market where you're just getting listings and you put them on and you sell them. You guys need to learn to be practitioners of your business. If you aren't already and haven't honed those skills, this is the time to really be working on them. And maybe that means getting yourself an accountability partner or a scripts partner or somebody that you're working with on a daily basis that you have a one-on-one relationship with, where you can really work on honing these skills. I'm going to tell you, the practice is where it comes in, guys. The scripts practices, your listing presentation, your buyer consultation practices, those are the kind of conversations I'm having with a lot of you right now, that you're honing those skills and putting your presentations together so that when you get an appointment, you're able to nail it in a way that you haven't been able to before. So this is just another reminder. If you need any of that help, please don't hesitate. Set an appointment with me for 15-20 minutes. Even if you're just not quite sure what to do, just set a quick appointment with me and I'll help get you on the right track. All right, moving on. Home sales by city, the 3-month average. Every city has lower sales compared to a year ago. The largest percentage in decline was La Quinta at 58 and Indio at 52%. But you've also got Palm Desert at 50 and Cathedral City at 49, not too far behind. And the cities of Desert Hot Springs and Indian Wells have the smallest decline in sales. They're still fairly going strong. And I guess I would say those are at the two ends of the spectrum for me, Desert Hot Springs and Indian Wells. And I think there's two different reasons why they have a decline in sales. I think Indian Wells has fewer properties coming on the market, and so it's easier to sell more of them, if that makes sense. And that higher end, while we've still seen a decline in the higher end, it's not as much of a decline as we have seen in that like $500,000 price range, if that makes sense to you. And then the same thing, home sales by price range. So this is still a 3-month average, but this is by price range. And this is a great sheet to take with you on your listing appointments. when you're talking to sellers about where they're pricing their home and what this looks like, look at the average sales and at the same time last year. While every price bracket shows a sales decline, the largest sales declines continue to be in homes priced under 500,000, like we just said. But even the higher price bracket, which initially resisted the sales decline, is showing sales considerably below last year. This is a great sheet to take with you on your listing appointment. If you've got a listing, in the $900,000 range, it's very simple to show what's going to happen and what happened last year. How many properties are you competing with? This is a wonderful piece to take. If you've got somebody in the 500,000 range, look how many properties we're competing with and look how many sales were taking place last year. Where do you think, Mr. Seller, we need to be in order to make your property marketed competitively against the other properties that are on the market? Right? This can really help you with that pricing conversation. So make sure you're familiar with this page. And again, if you want to go over it with somebody, feel free to call me and let's sit down and have a conversation about it. The next sheet we've got is the Valley Housing Inventory. This one's one of my favorite topics. So inventory stood at 1,911 units, which is below last month, but 1,300 units more than last year. So we did have a slight decline in inventory. And I want to say, in December, we start to see things come up. So again, this is a metric we're going to want to watch to make sure that it doesn't continue to fall. However, they're still estimating 2,500 units by the end of February or March. They were saying before they were estimating that by February. Now they're extending it out just a little bit, that it might take another month for us to get there, but they're still anticipating that increase in inventory. We're still below our average that we want to be at. We're still below our average months of inventory. That 5 to 6 month ratio is really what they consider like an equilibrium, or I want to say in the desert it's 4 to 5 months inventory that they consider equilibrium. And so we're not quite there, but it's definitely getting easier. It's definitely getting better. There was another piece in here that I thought was important. Let me see if I can find that. Oh, yeah, this I thought was interesting. The ratio measures supply versus demand. A valley ratio this low historically implies that the balance of supply and demand still favors the seller. We believe so. We're technically still in a seller's market. We believe some of the price decline hasn't been from an abundance of supply over demand, but from the transition from a premium to a discount market. So do you guys understand what that means? Like when we go from a market where homes are selling above asking to a market where homes are selling below asking. So does that city have a price premium or is it a price discount? All of the cities in the desert were at a price premium. And now we're going to show you the next slide. I think that's going to show, is it this one or the next one? Oh, let me see if where's the slide with the discount? Hold on one sec. Here it is. This is the slide that shows the difference between every city last year. So this bar chart shows the average price discount or premium for both detached and attached homes. Detached is above and attached is below. And they use the average instead of the median for this one because it's a better metric for the type of market that we're in now for periods when so many homes are selling near list. So it says the graph clearly shows the transition from a premium to a discount market with no change in list price. This transition alone will account for some of the price decline, which means that houses, when they start selling below market value, when they start selling below that, and that just indicates a discount. It doesn't really mean that sellers have changed where they're listing their properties, or it doesn't change where we've decided the comps are. It's where buyers have decided they're willing to spend the amount that they're willing to spend. Some of that has to do with the lending situation. Some of it has to do with some other instabilities that we have. But again, all of that is, I don't want to say super mild because inflation has been a little ridiculous, but all of it has been tempered so well because we don't have a glut of inventory. We don't have, all kinds of other issues that we've had in the past with the last major correction that we had. We're not seeing those. So all of these factors, we're still watching them and we need to watch them, and something could happen that could make them go off kilter. But right now, everything is still kind of in line. And again, it's not the market we were in 18 months ago. You're definitely having to do things differently. And this is also another great piece to show your sellers when we're talking about how we want to price those properties. I'm going to scroll back up here because I feel like there was something else I wanted to catch in one of these months of sales. months of sales by city. These are really great because these are by price range and then these are by city. So there's two different ways you can show it to each seller, depending on where their home is located and depending on what price range it's in. Those can come in really handy. And then days in market. This is another one that's important for your sellers. Days in market. This shows right now the average is about 37 days, which is 10 days more than last year. So as you've got those sellers that are like, man, we've been on the market for a month and nothing has happened. Well, the average in the desert is actually 37. What you guys need to know is what is the average days on market for the neighborhood you live in. And it's really simple to find that by just pulling a CMA. You can see what the days on market are for the active, what they are for the pending, and what they are for the sold. The days on market for the pending shows you how many days it should take for you to get an offer. And then for the closed, it's how many days it should actually take for it to sell. And those numbers can be important to your sellers when we're in a transitioning market like this, where they're used to seeing homes go in 2 weeks, and now we have to explain to them why it might be taking a little bit longer. And this time of year also is interesting because you have people coming in and out of town for the holidays. A lot of them are coming back now, but some people haven't come back yet. And so the conversation we're having with some of the sellers is that we're waiting for the buyer for your home to come into the Coachella Valley. So as long as you know you're priced well, it doesn't necessarily mean we need to drop the price if you don't have to sell right this second. You know what I mean? If we need to sell today, then we got to make an adjustment. But if we don't, maybe we just need to wait a week. I've seen that happen a couple times where agents were considering making a price reduction and either the client or in one case, the client actually told us, no, we want to hold off for a minute. And we did. And we actually got the offer at the price, very close to the price that we were asking. And so there's times where we don't necessarily need to jump the gun, and you just need to hold on and be patient, but you also need to make sure that you look at all the numbers so that you really know that you're doing the right thing there. But the days on market conversation can be really helpful that you're having with your sellers that are getting antsy and wanting to know why things haven't moved. Make sure you're able to show them that information. And again, if you want help with that, please just come in and talk with us. Days on market for the individual cities. That's always useful. Percentage of homes selling over list price. Okay, so this is what we talked about. This chart shows the percentage of Valley homes that sold above list price over the last 3 months, and shows the percentage, the percent that continues to decline. So only 15% of sales occurred over list price, as compared to 43% a year ago. And I do remember that we were almost close to 50% of the homes were selling over list price. And now we're only at 15%. So that's another conversation to have with your sellers so that we can set that expectation that we're like, oh, we'll just set it here and we'll just let the bidding war begin. Well, this is what we're actually seeing. We're only seeing 15% of homes selling over list price right now. So let's get real serious about where we're going to price that home, if that makes sense. You guys have any questions on any of this stuff so far? All right, we're to the end, and so I'll stop now and just ask again if you guys have any questions. Feel free to pop in. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'm going to go on to something else. See if I've got any other guests here. Well, hello, Rita. Nice to see you. Okay, so let's do this. Well, first, Dawn, hey, do you have anything you want to share with us? I didn't quite give you guys an intro, but we said hi when you first popped on. Is there anything you want to share with us or anything you thought of as we talked about these stats today?
No, I think it's really interesting to see the market shift and see, it's kind of like everything's up in the air. We don't really know which way it's going to go. And obviously people are feeling the heat. They're definitely getting a little bit more creative in their farming and things like that. So please come and speak to us. If you're having any sort of difficulty, you feel frustrated, you're like, I don't know what to do. It's the new year. I want to get going and, make this the most successful, year that I can, especially in the shifting market. Please come and see us and see what ideas we can come up with for you. But yeah, we are noticing that a lot of people are getting more aggressive with their farming right now, which makes sense.
As a matter of fact, Josh was here yesterday and I said to him, I want to do a farming clinic. And so we laid out a little agenda for it, a little itinerary for it. And I copied you, Dawn, all the girls at First American, and Ben and John and several other people. Actually, I have Craig, I have you on it because there's a part I want to tap you to see if you'll help me with, about how to serve your farm and how to serve the market that you work in. But we want to do a farming clinic. So if you guys want to put on your calendars, save the date for January 26th at 11 o'clock from 11 to 12. We're going to do a session in the office. I'm actually going to send the email out to all of the people that I just mentioned today that are going to help me coordinate it. And we're going to have each of you assigned to do a part. We're going to talk about business planning. We're going to talk about knowing the number of transactions that you need. We're going to talk about all the different aspects of farming, how to serve your market, how to market yourself, all of the different pieces that you can do. And so it's going to be a full clinic, and it's going to be live in the office. We're going to try to start doing some more live classes. So that'll be on January 26th. We're going to do a little lunch afterwards, just so at 12 o'clock, once we're done with the class, you guys will be able to take a little break and grab a bite to eat. But we see it. I hear everybody having the conversation about needing to do more farming. I'm meeting with all of my agents again and having conversations. I just met with another one yesterday, and I met with two more earlier this week, that we were going back over business planning to determine, it'll be at 11 o'clock from 11 to 12. But we're going back over those business plans and getting them back in front of First American to rehome those farms, because we're finding that they just need to make some tweaks and changes to them. And you should freshen up your farms at least twice a year. You really should go through them, make sure you're adding in the people that you want to add in. I just ordered a new one for myself because I know that a couple people have moved in my neighborhood, and was able to go through and make some updates. It's a little bit time consuming, but it's really worth it, especially for the farms that you work often. So yeah, put that in your calendar that we're going to do that marketing or farming clinic on January 26th in the office. Go ahead, Dawn. I see you have something else.
I just wanted to say, we can get really specific with your farming. We can go after next best sellers, people that have dual residence. So that way you're only going after the people that maybe don't have to worry about, selling one home to get into another. So because they already have a second residence. So we can get very specific. So if you start thinking about some of those things and ways you want to sort of attack, your farm.
That's exactly it. One of the things I went to the ladies with is that I said, you know what, I just don't have time to farm all three of my neighborhoods. And they said, you know what, let's do this. Let's not pick one of them. Let's do all three, but let us run the analytics and only pick the people to farm to that are going to be most likely to sell next. So we went through and made some adjustments to those farms so that we could only market to those people that we thought would sell next. So instead of only marketing to one of my three neighborhoods, now I market to all of them, but I'm just not marketing to everybody. I'm not marketing to the people that just sold their home a year ago. So that's what we talk about with it. Some agents are finding they're needing to expand the farms out. So maybe you've sold homes in a couple neighborhoods last year. Pick a couple that you really liked or that you feel like you did well in, or that there's a good enough turnover that would make sense for you to do some additional farming there, and maybe add a couple neighborhoods. You don't have to add everybody, but add a couple people in a few neighborhoods so that you're getting more exposure and more of yourself out there. It's important right now. You got to do it. Otherwise, you're not going to make what you made last year. That's just the whole cold hard reality, is that you won't make what you made last year if you don't do more than you did last year, right? All right, what else? Anybody else have anything? Portia, do you have anything for us?
I don't have anything right now.
All right, how's everything going over with the vacation rental side of things?
Going good, and I'm meeting today with Josh and Benjamin about the long-term rentals.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, so we're getting the marketing piece because Jackie wants to be a part of it.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, great. All right, anything else? Does anybody have any wants or needs? Anything they want to share with the group for the good of the order?
I do. Hi you guys.
Hi, Eric.
Great meeting. Thank you, Stephanie, for the information.
Sure.
I wanted to share my upcoming listing in Desert Hot Springs. It is going to be 548,000. It is a 3-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms, mountain view from the backyard. It is a home. It is a new construction home. Well, not new anymore, but it was built in 2021, and it is made to look mid-century modern. That will be coming on the market later this month. And
Where
if you
is
want
it?
any more info,
What city?
Desert
Or
Hot Springs.
not what city. What neighborhood?
Oh, the subdivision is called the Arbors. It was recently constructed by a developer called Silver Rock.
Yep. Okay.
And it's a great home. Really excited about it. I'm gonna have photos done next week, and we're gonna be on the market around Thursday, Friday.
That's an
But if
amazing
you want
price
more
point, by the way.
information, thank you. And Desert Hot Springs is one of the cities that is still selling pretty quickly, because everyone is outpriced everywhere else. So I do expect it to go fast, but I would love to do something in-house. If you have a client that is somewhere under those parameters, get with me. I would love to go on the market pending.
Yeah, it does. Sitting here looking at that chart that we talked about for the average price of a home in each city, or average size of a home in each city, and I'm looking at Desert Hot Springs, and that the percentage of increase from the low in 2011-12 is the highest in the Coachella Valley at 364%. The only one close to that is Coachella at 310%. So we have really watched those prices in Desert Hot Springs and Coachella go up significantly. And for those of you who sell in Palm Springs, look at your farm. Make sure that the area you're serving has enough transactions to support your goals. And if not, you might want to add a piece of DHS to what you're doing. You might want to think about it. The prices there are high enough. It makes sense in a lot of ways. And if you've got an investor that's looking to pick up 2 or 3 properties, they can do it in Desert Hot Springs a lot easier than they can do it anywhere else. And so it's, it's just something to think about when you're looking at those numbers. The increases, percentage of increases in Desert Hot Springs is phenomenal. It's pretty ridiculous. And even just over the last little bit, where we're at still at 12%. That's still one of the higher percentages for the Coachella Valley in a 12-month change. So anyway, thank you for that. Anybody else got anything? Anybody have any wants or needs or anything they want to share? All right. Well, I'm going to let you have a half hour of your life back. You guys have a great Friday, a great weekend. It looks like, there's a couple things in chat. Let me just double check.
I just
Listing info.
posted
Perfect.
the old MLS from when it sold, so that way you can have the information on the property now before it hits the market.
Great. Well, go ahead and grab that, guys, before we log out. That you all have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Friday. If there's anything we can do, just know we're available and happy to help. All right. Take care, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.